This podcast is a part of the More Podcast Network.
Welcome back. 2025, the Daily Leader, man. Bradley, I am stoked, I'm sure you are too, to be underway with season 5 of the Daily Leader. Yeah, I know, it's nuts. And today, what we're going to talk about eventually is we're going to talk about why your 2025 is most likely going to be the exact same as your 2024, unless you do this. I'm going to leave you with cliffhanger there. Yeah, I'm going to leave you with a cliffhanger, but 2025 will be like 2024 and all your other years unless. So, man, Brad, with that, hey, tell our listeners a little bit, some people may be new, some are coming back. So, 2025, who are we at the Daily Leader, man?
I love it. Absolutely. Great question. Great way to kind of start out. What is that unless? And I'm looking forward to talking about that with you today. So the Daily Leader, yeah, this is season 2. You said season 5, by the way.
Did I seriously say season 5? I'm
I'm
thinking 2025 and I said season 5.
I almost had a stroke, but I didn't.
It feels like it. That's what working with you feels like it.
It feels like it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
Man, season 2, here we go. So if you're just now joining us for the first time, welcome to season 2 of the Daily Leader podcast. I'm Brad McDonald. Taylor Jessup here is my co-host and co-founder. Taylor just launched a coaching company along with his co-founder, Justin, and they've been having a lot of fun getting it off the ground. Got a couple clients, working on kind of a big push for 2025. So you can reach out to Taylor, borrow coaching. Contact info is going to be in the show notes if you want to explore that. What does it look like to grow, and what does it look like to achieve your potential? 2 questions that you'd be engaging in pretty frequently if you got coaching with Taylor. And so that's what Taylor is up to. I'm the founder of Pattern Talent. About a year and a quarter in so far. It's been a lot of fun and really focused on growing our business. Just added our first full-time coach, which is exciting and can also serve you in that way. Obviously, I'm much better than Taylor at it, so you're going to want to keep that in mind. But I charge a premium. So
Yeah,
just
I
factor
think our
that.
pricing is
factor that
almost
in.
exactly the same. So they just have to decide, do they really want to put up with your voice for that long or not,
Look,
Which you are a fantastic coach, my friend. You do
if
a
you
great job.
actually want to grow, call me. If you just want to check the box, call Taylor. Okay.
Yes. Checking the box since 1987. That's my slogan.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. But this is a fun opportunity that Taylor and I have to collaborate and to do something together. That's separate, from our kind of 9 to 5 roles as consultants and executive coaches. And the Daily Leader is all about developing leaders through sitting down with leaders in a variety of different places. Some you'll hear of them. They will have written books. They'll be professors. Some you will have never heard of. They've been quietly leading their businesses or their organizations. And they're people that we know and respect, or they're people that have been recommended to us by those we know and respect. And we really like to focus on 4 different values. One is curiosity. And the big idea behind curiosity is that there might be some things that we don't yet know. We might be wrong about some things that we think we do know. Taylor, elaborate.
Not in our not at home. At home with my wife, there's very
You're
little
always
I don't
right.
know.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. No, it's great. I think oftentimes we come in and we believe that as a leader of a organization, maybe of my family, and we may not even have this conscious belief, but like I need to know what I'm doing and have the answers. And so we challenge that. We say, hey, what if actually curiosity was the key to unlocking more of your potential? So where could I go? Could I, if we seek to understand before seeking to be understood, is kind of the big, habit of highly successful people there. Can I just seek to understand what's going on? So we bring people on the show, and you and I have a lot of curious conversations where we're even questioning our own thoughts, our own beliefs, our own ways of guiding and leading people. Are they the best way. Is there a best way? What would it look like from a different perspective? But curiosity can actually unlock our full potential and figuring out, hey, is there something else that is wanted or needed here that I could do better? So, yeah, I think anything to add on curiosity there, Brett?
No, no. Next one's community. And I think we're gonna talk a good bit about community today on our season 2 kickoff because it's an important part of making our 2025 effective. And to me, community is really about the recognition that um, I am not able to be fully me without other people in my life. Respond to that. How
Hmm.
would you unpack community?
Yeah, I mean, without community, I have no mirror. So
Well
without
said.
community, I've got nobody to hold up what I'm doing back to me. So I can live a life that I think is potentially even somewhat fulfilling and all those kind of things, but I think it falls short because we have nobody to basically go, hey, are you actually doing this? We can fall into the lies that we're telling ourselves rather than the current reality of where I really am and encouraging me to get better. Right. So, case in point, you get married, you start living in community. I thought I was pretty much a perfect human and good to go before I did that. Right. And then all of a sudden you realize, like, hey, you know, idiot, maybe you shouldn't eat your Doritos chips on the white couch. That's not so smart. Something I may have missed on my own,
But
you
it
know.
is comfortable. It's
Oh, it's so
it's very
comfortable.
comfortable. Yeah.
God, I just want to eat my chips and leave the crumbs wherever I want. But if I have somebody else in my corner, I can actually figure out, oh, if I don't do that, I need to wash that couch less. I can be more intentional about how and where I choose to eat my chips, and I can be a better version of myself, which I think we both say, our wives who never listen to this podcast would say we're better versions of ourselves because of them. So,
Man, I'm believing season 2 we're gonna get some listens. I feel
nope.
like we're gonna get at least one listen out of the wives.
No, I already talked to her. There's no way
Oh, she
in the
said no.
world.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she just laughed. I was like, "Great, season 2, maybe you'll listen." And, then I told her that on the end of season 1, we talked about how they would be bored in the first 2 minutes and already on Instagram, and she just agreed and left and moved on. So,
Wow.
you know,
That's
yeah, so
that's exciting.
community is such a base, and I hate that it's a buzzword right now of like, "Oh, man, community," but I do think as a
Has
human,
been.
yeah, as a human,
Mhm.
as a, spouse at the moment, as wherever we need community in order to grow and thrive. We also do offer a growing community at the Daily Leader podcast, which you can become a part of, and we'll talk more about at different
Oh, good
moments.
shout
But
out. Yep.
um, yeah, like community is such a significant part of growth and development, and it's also something we stay curious about. So,
Good. Competence. Competence. I define competence as creating the value that only I can create. That's what competence is ultimately about. Sometimes we sort of say, "Oh, competence is your skill sets."
sure.
And that's true. That's the door that gets you into competence, but really competence is about the thing that only Taylor could do. Nobody else in the world can do it. And how do we help Taylor know and understand what that is and how do we help him deliver on it with excellence?
Yep.
That's what I want to be when I think about competence.
Yeah, it's well said. It's well said. What is your gift to the world? How do you live more into that? And you may not get to do it all the time. We've talked about this on season 1. You can go back and listen to some of those episodes of like, do I get to live that out in my job? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But there should be areas of your life where you are getting to really live into the unique way Brad was designed to live. Shane Kuiper, who we've had on a lot, is designed to live. There is
I
a
love
sweet
Shane.
spot where you're swimming in that river, right? And you can either swim against it. You can swim against it and it's going to be really hard and you're not going to get as far, or you can swim with it, you know? So, yeah, I agree. That's a good definition. And what about clarity, Brad? I think this is a huge one as well because
Man.
that's our last one there. Talk to me about clarity.
Yeah, so the door to clarity is vision, and the door to vision is possibility. So if I can't dream and wonder and be inventive and be ultimately curious about what's possible, then I cannot have a vision. And if I can't have a vision, then I can't really get clear on much of anything.
Hmm.
So that's kind of the logic of clarity for me.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's well said. That's well said. I think you and I both run into a lot of leaders that have some sort of vision, but their vision maybe isn't clear. Maybe it's not big enough. Maybe they're not invested in it enough. Maybe they're not competent enough in terms of their own skill set to know what they really want that vision to be.
That's right.
But part of what we do here, and part of what we care about, is helping those leaders, partnering with them, coming alongside them, so they can get really, really clear. Because if you don't have clarity, chances are you're just going to end up somewhere, and that somewhere may not be where you want to go. You may not end up there. At least you knew, if you're really clear, hey, I didn't end up there. Now I can course correct, right?
Yeah.
But I think
It,
helping
it
people
always,
get
for
clear.
me, Taylor, it goes back to another two C's, which are the Cheshire Cat. If you remember back to Alice in Wonderland, the Cheshire Cat poses an interesting question, right? Or really, Alice poses an interesting question, and the Cheshire Cat basically says, "Hey, like you can go anywhere you want to go, Alice. Like if you don't know where you're headed, any road will take you there, right?"
Mm,
And
mhm,
so I think that is a very powerful image for me. It's one that I
mhm,
think about very often because I want to know that I'm not Cheshire catting my way through life, that I'm not just wandering like an aimless person down road after road after road, leading myself nowhere. Now, that's not to say that we can't take the scenic route, that we can't have detours in life. That's not to say that we can't take seasons of life where we really just kind of put pause on the big agenda
mm,
and we explore a little bit. The journey is important, and we've discussed this before on Slow Burn. Like, what's more important, the journey or the destination? And the answer is both, right? They're both very important. We can't
mhm,
really have one without the other. But clarity means that I have purpose. Clarity means that I have a sense of values. Clarity means that I can discern if whether or not I've been successful or effective, and I'm not in a perpetual state of victimhood and just total loss, right? So, man, I think we have a good set of values here. I think we have a good set of core principles that are driving us.
yeah, I mean, I would agree. I like them. I think they've been very beneficial to us and our listeners so far. I think that it's a good framework to which we build most things around. And it brings us all the way back to what we said. Hey, your 2025 will be like your 2024, unless, unless.
Where do you want to go in 2025?
Mm, where do I want to go in 2025? Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I think with the Daily Leader in particular, I am excited for this to grow. And I talked about this in season one in terms of you and I continuing to figure out our voice. And I think continuing to bring in guests that we're excited about. That's one of my favorite things, is just interviewing people. We only have, I think, 3 months to hit our goal of having Andrew Huberman on the show. So we really got to get to work on that. Yeah. I know, I know. We're behind. We're behind. Um, so that's one place I want to go. If we're talking the Daily Leader, I think we're opening up and toying with the idea of um, some different segments, some different spinoffs of the Daily Leader. I'm particularly interested in sports. I love sports. I love leadership in sports. Talking about that, yeah, I know, which is something you know so much about. But
I
that's where I want to
feel
go.
like I would get all of my sports news from your Daily Leader Sports podcast.
Wow.
I
Okay.
feel like that's where I would go to learn about what's happening in the wacky world of sports.
You would. You and the five other people out there that would trust me for their sports wisdom and knowledge on all things. But
I feel like you could bring Janelle in on the basketball side of things, at
yeah.
least the basketball side, maybe more.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, she would crush it. But look, 2025, I think for me, and this will go to the Daily Leader and personally, it's a year of fun, man. It's a year of, if you're going to do it, and if it's going to be hard, we might as well have fun at the same time. My three key guiding kind of principles, ideas for my life have been one, love people well, two, work hard, and three, have fun. and they're kind of inseparable for me. That's the way that
Clear.
I try and conduct myself. But that's kind of my overarching ideas, vision, and it gets broken out from there in terms of, oh, great, hey, the coaching business is up and running, going, podcast same way, but it is, how do we continue to instill fun? Like, life is short, man. Life, my mother passed away in 2024. That was a challenge. I had babies, two of them. I had twins, in
At the same
2024.
time,
Yeah, at the same time. Not two sets of twins, just to
it
clarify.
boggles the mind.
It does. It does. But you realize, like, hey, you get to the end of the year and you're like, man, they're almost one.
Hmm.
And even in those seasons that it's really hard, and maybe especially in those, I think we just need to connect with like our inner child and play and have fun. So, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go this year, Brad?
Yeah, good
2025,
question.
man.
I've been, I typically will pick a word for the year and use that as kind of a driving theme. And
Mm,
then within that word, I'll create a handful of goals that are important for me personally. Um, fitness, I feel like fitness has been one of those areas of like frustration and challenge. It's like the more that I work out, the more podcasts I listen to, the more help that I get. I'm always making incremental progress, but never the kind of progress that I want to make. Although I will say, I just maxed out my bench and my squat. The heaviest I've ever, I'm not going to say my numbers because I don't want you to shame me on the
do it,
podcast, on the
Brad.
internet, in front of
Share your
everyone.
numbers, Brad.
All that matters is that I'm growing bigger, stronger muscles. Okay, Taylor, even though they're not as big and strong as yours.
I thought you were
All right.
just going to say all that matters is you're growing. And I was like, well, it depends on your definition of success there, but that's great. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So bigger, stronger, maxed
And
bench, max squat. Got it. What
but
else?
here's what's interesting. That those I broke, my PRs on the heels of doing the push-up challenge for
Mm,
90 days,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
Which is pretty fascinating to me because I thought that I would get a lot weaker, going from lifting heavy weight to doing more body weight and some weighted vest stuff. But I think like just mixing it up was exactly what I needed to kind of launch myself past that ceiling, right?
mm,
And so I think that fitness is just a great example for some of the other areas of our life that we're trying to grow in, whether it's spiritually, right? Which is very important to me that I can have some sense of spiritual progression, right? Which is kind of fuzzy at best, but I've got some ideas around how I can improve that part of my life, my marriage and being a father. I've got some ideas around how I can improve and mature, right, as a husband and father. And then definitely business, is the easy one for me. Like I'm very honest about my workaholism. Like I've got a serious problem with really being addicted to work and not knowing how or when, and also not wanting to turn the productive parts of my personality and the productive functions off. Um, like if I didn't have a wife or kids, I would not stop working and I would be totally content to just feel the pleasure of work all the time. And it's really unhealthy, right? To live too deeply into that for too long. And so I think that there's, year two of my company, and I need to start to stabilize some things. And I need to start to put some parameters around, what I do and what I don't do, how I do it in some new ways in order to kind of uh, meet some other demands in my life, right? Relational demands and personal demands that are more important than just what my company needs. So that's me. Um, but I would love for us to explore and give our listeners maybe some tools or some ideas on how they can advance whatever goals they have in 2025. So I'm curious, like if we were on a call with a client, how would you begin to equip them to answer this question and to kind of talk about that unless that you mentioned
mm.
at the beginning?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first thing I'd ask them is, hey, and I'm going to do this with you right now. You don't know that I'm going to do this, but Brad, what are the goals that you didn't reach in 2024, and why did you not reach them?
Oh man, I have so many. I have
Under
so many.
under your very limited understanding of who you are. No, but like under your
Yeah.
perception, why didn't you reach those goals?
Yeah. So how concrete do you want me to like give you a specific example, or do you just want me to be more general? Like, do you want me to talk about a business example, or I could talk about one of my fitness,
Yeah,
goals?
go
I
with the
could
fitness.
go either
Go
way.
with the fitness goal that you didn't hit.
Yeah. So two fitness, well, really three fitness goals in my big compound lifts. I didn't hit any of my, max weight goals. And oh man, like it's actually the second year in a row that I've not hit those. It's the second year in a row that I've increased my max lifts on squat, bench, and deadlift and press. Actually, I think I did hit my press. I think I did hit my press goal, actually,
Cool.
as a matter of fact. Um, but that would be the only one. And so for 2 years in a row, I've had very clear, max lift goals that I've not met. And it's actually like kind of frustrating for me because like I really like I'm a healthy 35-year-old guy. I am relatively small, but there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to hit my numbers.
Mm.
Other than just like I'm just not putting in enough time, effort, and probably sleep into into hitting them. So yeah, very frustrated. 2 years in a row. I'm determined to hit them in 2025. Um, Move me forward.
Yeah.
What
So
did I miss?
so so 2025, you're just going to try harder.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of the problem, right?
Sure.
And is like what I'm working isn't working.
Mm.
I've got to rework my process for hitting these things.
Yeah.
And um and I'm not quite sure. I'm kind of in analysis paralysis a little bit, you
Okay.
know. Um and I'm definitely feeling a little stuck in that area of my life, but I think I have some reasons why I didn't progress the way that I should have the last 2 years.
Okay. What are those?
So one, I think goes down to like I injured my shoulder, right? So for my bench, about a year and a half ago, I think it was middle of 2023, maybe late 2022, I injured my right shoulder bench pressing, and I didn't really rehab it very well, and so I think that that's part of the reason why I've just kind of favored it and babied it a little bit, and I've just
Yeah.
not put in the time and the attention to rehab it properly because it's annoying to have to stretch and to have to do a bunch of awkward exercises to rehab, anything. And I'd rather just like go bench and not, you know, do the rehab, right? Which I think just slows down progress, right?
Yeah.
Um, I've not been as consistent. I've been very consistent with physical activity, but not as consistent with lifting. So, like, not really working a formal plan and being committed to a formal plan, I think has held me back a lot. And I think not sleeping, because what
Mm.
I have noticed is I'll get good sleep, I'll get a really good workout in, make a little bit of progress, and then I won't recover well, and so therefore, soreness, fatigue, having a crappy lift a couple days later, and I'm like, okay, and then I get off my regiment, if that makes sense.
Sure. Makes perfect sense. I mean, you had a hard year, right? You had a new baby. You got a
Mm.
new kiddo, right?
Oh yeah,
So, I mean,
yeah. Sleep has been garbage
yeah.
since
Is it?
like the latter part of my wife's pregnancy.
Yeah. There's there's definitely challenges around all of that. And I'll tell you what I tell a lot of my clients that doesn't make it so fun, but I always say, hey, excuses are like butts. Everybody's got them and they all stink, right? It's not that none of those are true. They're all true. They're all true. But kind of the way that I frame it up is like most people start off in January and they're pretty excited. But I think this is my assertion. Well, let's just tease this out for a little bit and see if it's true. All right.
Hmm.
I think we fail on our goals for multiple reasons. Um, I'm gonna go with three strategic ones that you can think about why you probably will have 2024 be like 2025. And here's the deal: all these things are simple; they're not easy. Like if you're looking for the next book or the next revelation, that could be part of your problem on why you're not able to get over the hump. What you actually have to do is simple; it's just not easy. One is how often are your goals connected to your vision? So is your goal, hey, weightlifting and hitting these goals, does that actually impact you in where you want to go or not? Because if you set up a goal that you're like, geez, I just want to hit a new max and bench because I want to be stronger, but being stronger doesn't fit necessarily with your vision of the who you want to be. Like, let's just say it's fit. Does bench pressing 245 pounds actually make you any more fit? It may or may not. We have to understand, does my goal actually align with that, right? So, because if my goal is not, then eventually, whatever that vision is that we talked about getting clear and marching towards, the goal doesn't add up. We just had this conversation, at work here where it's like,
That's
hey,
good.
most people set goals, but do they think, does the goal align with the vision? So, bar at agency, we exist, right? To get people back to the people side of business. But if we're not connecting our goals and our revenue and all those thoughts back to that, eventually it's just dollars and cents, right? That's not what drives people. So, number one, is your vision actually connected with your goals? So, I want to go to the gym every day
Love
this
that.
year. Why? Why? You got to be able to tell me why. And not just, well, I just want to be healthier. No, that's not a clear enough vision for yourself. The person that I want to be at 60 is somebody who is still playing golf every single day, retired, playing golf, exercising, good shape. But all of a sudden now I can see that picture of where I want to be, and my brain is actually going to start subconsciously working on ways to get there. It at least increases my chances of hitting those goals. So that's number one.
Man,
Thoughts on that?
that's so good. And I think about, I mean, yeah, I could give you some of my whys around like fitness, right? And I think that they would make good sense. But something that's interesting is that I don't think I confronted my why very often. I
Mm,
think that I was just confronting, you know, honestly, I don't think I confronted my why or my end state goal very often in the past year. I think that I was really just trying to maintain the discipline and trying to just force myself to move and force myself to get in the gym, and which is my garage. So not
yeah.
very sophisticated. I probably shouldn't be putting two, a couple 100 pounds on my back or over my face alone in there, but
Hey,
that's what's
well,
happening.
you
So
know,
it is what it is.
I mean, that leads into our second point. I think you're right. I think you're right. Yes. Oftentimes, I think we get swept up. So we start with this grandiose idea,
Totally.
maybe when we have the vision, but are we continually coming back and looking at the vision? There's a book called Living Forward out there, which talks about writing out a life plan. And in
Hmm.
that, it says every morning waking up and looking at that life plan and reading it to yourself, right?
Yep.
Going through it and making sure, like, okay, I am connected to that vision.
Here's what's interesting. On the work side of my life, I connect to my why and my big picture vision like multiple times a day.
Sure.
And I think that that's part of the reason for like being so naturally, and obviously having, a wife and 3 kids really helps anchor you to, you don't want to blow up your marriage, you don't want to damage your kids, emotionally. So you try to be very present for those things. And my wife and I have some agreements that we've made that we're committed to that help me, turn work off at 6 and really try not to turn it back on until like 6 or 7 the next day, right?
Yeah.
Which is very helpful. Point being, though, I think a part of the reason why, like, I don't get tired of work is because I am so fueled and so inspired by my why. And
Yeah.
I have to wonder, based on what you're saying, if I reconnected to my why as frequently on the fitness side or the physical health side, physical capital for me, as I do my work, maybe I would be even more motivated to be disciplined and to just do the reps, so to speak, on the fitness side as I am on the work side. That I haven't thought about it like that before.
Well, it's,
Well, you're actually kind of good at this.
on occasion,
Can I be your
I'm
client?
can you actually just tell my wife that you said that? Just
No,
tell my wife
definitely.
that you said that I'm kinda good at this. I think that'd
No,
be great.
that's not
Look,
happening.
I think you're right. I think a couple things. People naturally are going to have a tendency to do better in some areas than others, right? They're just gonna be naturally driven. If it's for me,
Mhm.
it's typically on the fitness side, yeah, I've done that my whole life. I can get into shape pretty fast. I can get back to that base level pretty fast, right?
Mhm.
And I've done that for so long, it's intrinsically like I don't have to think about that vision for myself as much. I know that when I am 85 years old, I still want to be able to play golf, tennis, pickleball, live in some kind of community that I'm not totally retired, but it's like camp all the time, where we get to go out and play pickleball in the
Yes.
mornings, golf in the afternoon, and then maybe I'm at a speaking engagement, and then I come home for some cards and drinks and go to bed. That sounds great. Okay.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I still want to keep my vision for my life with having all those things. But that is so innate in me now. I don't have to necessarily think about it. So when I'm off course, I tend to course correct more quickly. Other areas of life are hard. So the reasons why you may not change in 2025. A, is your vision connected to the goals that you want for yourself, or are your goals just floating objects, right? And
Hmm.
that's not just like, here's where this is simple, it's just not easy, is because that's daily. Like
Yep.
there's no other way to skin that cat to say you're not going to be motivated. In fact, the majority of the days your motivation is going to be lacking, which is why the purpose and the vision and having clarity on that is so important. So number one, okay, when you write out those goals, if you're a goal person or if you're just like, this is the word that I have for this year, get clear on what that means, attach it to your vision. The other two and three, really simple. We come alongside people and we provide this. It's just, again, it's simple. It's not easy. The other two are community and accountability. I would say, hey, Brad, with your goal that you didn't hit for the your maxes,
Yeah. Third year in a row.
how come I'm not on a text message or a Google sheet with you measuring that?
Hmm.
How did you do when we said we're going to do 100 push-ups every day
Oh,
and
crushed
we
it.
measured it? Right. Because we measured it, right? But we
Yeah.
didn't just measure it like, hey, I've got a spreadsheet for myself. We had, we had 4, 5, 6, 7 people on that list that were in there all the time. And you did miss it, right? You didn't get them every day, but you also had other
No.
days where we did like 380 push-ups to try and catch up, right?
Yep. And month 3, I even started getting a little crazy with it. I started adding some different things and tracking those, right?
Sure.
So yeah, point well taken. Like I have not included any community and relational accountability or like just reporting
Mm-hmm.
in that part of my
Right.
life.
Yeah. What we measure moves.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, we're going to measure moves. If you don't measure it, you're not going to move. Even if you do move, you don't really know. Like this is going back all the way to the clarity. Like, did you at the beginning of the year go, okay, right now I can put up 195. Awesome. The goal is 255. Why? Because I want to be a strong ass old man by the time that I'm 70 and still bench pressing
Yes.
255 like that dude on an Instagram video that you once sent me. And in order to do that, I need to be, hitting 255 by the end of this year so I can just sustain that. Yeah, now you're
I know you're
remembering that
talking
video.
about
Yeah.
Danzig.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
And
serious.
he is he doesn't lock out his bench.
Yeah.
But it's not that he doesn't lock out, it's that he does not complete. It's
Yeah.
like it's like
Hey,
it's
if you
not
can
it's
you can
it's
talk to
bad.
different people. I know I bench press more than I ever have this year. Was it this year? Yeah, it was like right before the girls got here. Way more than I ever had, like significantly
Mhm.
more. And I had different form and somebody was working with me on it. Good buddy of mine, he's a pastor friend. He's all into that kind of stuff. And it was
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
But the point is, the reason I got there, and that was not part of my goals actually. So, but is because I didn't do it alone and I had somebody pushing me and keeping me accountable to it. So we were going to the gym, you know, every Saturday for a while. We go during the week as well too, and then I could get closer to that. Now, this is not a guaranteed recipe for how do I make $10 million in 2025. It could be, we still can miss, but the point of the goal also is to get closer to the vision even more than it is hitting the goal, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
it's to get closer. And I think successfully you could say, if you did that, let's just take it and you had the same year that you had, but your vision was, I want to get stronger as a human this year to be, 65-year-old that's bench pressing 300 pounds. Cool. That's a great vision because I want to be healthy and be there for my family and still be able to wrestle my kid when he's 30. Awesome. Good for you, Brad. Um,
It's
and
quite old to wrestle your kid, but yes.
well, that's true. Good point.
Yeah.
We'll take it. We'll take
Like
it.
18 is about the
Well,
cutoff.
you just still need to be able to kick their rear, right? Like you got to
That's
have
right.
the old man strength. Like my
That's
dad,
right.
if we go to the gym, he's not going to be stronger than me, but the old man strength is still there. So,
Oh yeah.
but I think you would say, hey, if your goal was to bench press 295 and you hit 275 this year, but you did it together and you got closer to it, I think you would sit on this call and you'd have a much different conversation. You go, yeah, hey, you know
Mhm.
what? I missed the mark. I still missed the mark. But I got really close to it. I grew. I am stronger. And I'm definitely going to be able to fly by that, this next year. Right. It's a whole other conversation. So oftentimes I think, and I was just chatting with a client who told me this the other night. He said, geez, I just need more discipline. And I said, the problem with that is there's always some truth in that lie. Like
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
true. Every single human being needs more discipline. Even David Goggins, if you're David Goggins guy who's out there, being so disciplined every day, he would still say, yeah, I could probably have more. There's days that I cheat. There's days that I whatever. So if we said, hey, maybe discipline isn't it, then us as humans get places by having a vision of where we want to go, connecting what we're going to do to that vision, and then doing it together. So that is the
That's good.
key to accomplishing what you want to change and having your 2025 be different. Yeah, the 3 keys to success are no, but realistically, I think if you did those 3 things, you might be super surprised by the results that you get and the journey that you go on this year. So if you're frustrated with that, of hey, I don't like, you could be like me for a long time. It was, I'm not making New Year's resolutions because I'm not going to meet them anyway, or I set goals, but I don't really know if I care about them, or I set goals and I just don't tend to hit them. Or if you are one of the
It's like
98%,
obligatory.
yeah, well, I mean, you go to the gym in January, it's packed. By the end of January, it's not. And
Yeah, I'm
there's a
not doing
reason
that.
for that. Like there's a reason for that. So
It all happens in the garage,
sure. Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
and if it does, that's fine. If you are an at home kind of workout kind of person, that's great. But how much better could it be if you were an at home kind of person who also said, I need accountability and community to help me get there to stay healthy until my 70s, 80s,
Yeah,
90s,
that's good.
200s, modern technology and your high level of income? You could live to be 200. So, anyways,
Man, I would not wish that on my worst enemy.
yeah, me
Can you
either.
imagine how crazy the world's going to be in 200 years? I don't want to live for it.
If I was born in the year like 1850, and so right now I was like 100, and what would that make me? 170. Like the way the world has changed, I don't think my human brain would be able to comprehend it. You know what I mean?
It would be tough. I
Even
totally
like
agree.
being born in the 30s and like being in your 90s right now, I think is just a total holy cow kind of
Yeah.
like, what the heck?
Yeah, you've seen a lot. You've seen a
Yeah.
lot.
Well, Brad, what do you have to say? 2025, super
Okay,
excited.
let's frame it up. So, okay, vision, community, accountability. Those are my 3 keys, right? Okay, give me some
Mm,
quick definitions, just something to hook on to, sort of like what is vision, what is community, what is accountability, something that I can anchor myself to as I map out my fitness in 2025.
yeah, vision. Vision is, hey, a clear destination that I want to go to. Very clear destination of where I desire to be in my life. And I use the word desire strategically there. Like, where is it that you desire? What is connecting with your purpose? Go back and listen to our episode with Elizabeth Dixon, season 1. Connecting with your purpose, making sure that that purpose lines up. Like your vision is, I'm setting out for a voyage. Where am I going? Where am I
Okay,
going?
so I want to squat twice my body weight.
That's a goal. Yeah, it's a
Right.
goal. Yeah. But the vision is,
But the
what
vision
is the end?
is I I basically want to grow big, strong muscles in order to maintain max health.
Sure, max health. And I would even push you further. I go, why, Brad? Why do you want to be healthy?
So that I can crush my kid in any athletic endeavor until he's the age of
Yes. Now we're
25.
talking. Okay, but seriously, okay, there's so many Instagram videos that are out there on that of like, yes, this is
Right.
actually why I'm working out, right? But that's now we're getting there. Because that is you see this all the time. All right, so actually this is the emotional heart level of where I use the word desire, and you see this in marketing. How many times we need to, the vision goes past just what the destination is, it's got to be clear, but it has to have an emotional tie to it, right? It
Right.
has to emotionally and intrinsically, like inside to my core, right? So
Yeah, that's
look
good.
at alcohol commercials. They never talk about what they do, they talk about the feeling that you get. Have you
Yep.
noticed this? Like they talk about, hey, you watch it, like watch Modelo, you feel like you're on top of the world because you're doing it. So that's the vision. It's that.
Viagra commercial, similar effect.
Sure, sure. Yeah, really get up and
We
go.
don't talk about what we do. We just talk about how you feel, right?
Yeah, how you feel.
Remember
Yeah,
Bob Dole? Bob Dole just
I
shamelessly
do.
hit the scene.
Yeah,
Beaches, Bob
90s.
Dole, big smile.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
Bob Dole's doctor who operated on his knee did my dad's knee replacement surgery.
Oh,
So,
wow. Small
yeah,
world.
doctor claim to fame. But that's vision. Okay. So that's vision. It's that clear. The desire and direction that you want to go for your life, articulated out very clearly, that you pinpoint and know that's where you want to go. Right. That takes
Beautiful.
actually a lot of work to get there. And you may
Seriously.
start with that. That may change, but it can't just be I mean, it could. It could. You could do, hey, I want, $100 million by this year in my bank account, but emotions are going to be stronger than just that logical goal. So if you can get to that part of it, now we're talking power in that. So,
Okay. Good. Vision. Let's go community. What
yep.
is quick definition on that?
Community, those that help you be better and get to where you want to go. I mean, if we want to be really simple, people that help you strategically get better, hold up a mirror to yourself and understand this is who you are and hold you, and this would go bleed into accountability. But community is also those, like, community falls flat if it doesn't challenge and encourage you. It has to do both.
Yeah.
You have to challenge and encourage.
Yeah. And I think it has to be reciprocal.
Sure.
You have to
Yeah.
be able to reciprocate that in some way,
Symbiotic
right?
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is that. It is, somebody yelled at me on the podcast for saying, and they said, this isn't an old African proverb, but I think it is. Alone we go fast, together we go far. Right.
It's not an African proverb?
I
No,
don't know.
it
I looked it
is.
up. I'm pretty sure it is. Google told me it was. So I don't know who that person
It
was
is.
on the inner spheres, but they were like, "Oh, that's wrong." And I was like, "Well, okay, all right." But it is. You're right. It is. It is a mutual relationship.
I'm
In
turning off
the
all comments in our post henceforth.
Oh, I love the comments. It's great. Keep them coming, especially on Brad and his problems with Trader Joe's. But that's what it is. It is
And
it
my
is a
sad
place to
squirrel.
communally come together and have mutual challenge, accountability, my word for the year, fun, playfulness, all those things, So it is our text thread that, like, shames each other for not hitting our goals and makes fun of each other, talks about what we did or didn't do, what we are committed to doing or not. So,
Yep.
and the last one, right? Accountability. You define accountability for me.
Accountability is what was once explained to me as being the backbone of leadership, or the bedrock of leadership, right? Which I love. I love that, because at some point you have to share the reality, right, or experience the reality that you either did or didn't do something, right? So accountability is just, it's reporting on the current state, like the reality of what did or didn't happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then it's accepting responsibility for the reasons why it did or didn't happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think accountability for my fitness is, relying on my community. It's actually having a clear goal and saying, like, this is what I commit to, and then it's reporting on, did I or did I not, based on a certain deadline, and then it's just sharing that information and making it known to my community. So, yeah, I think accountability is really what ties the knot on these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And it's what makes it, effective or ineffective.
100%. Did we do what we say we were going to do at the end of the
And
day?
I've been accountable to me. And here's what I find more and more as I try to grow in a variety of areas of life, particularly help other people grow in their lives, is that being accountable to me is rarely enough for me to make difficult changes. Now, some small changes that are easy for me to make, like, let's say, I need to be more productive on a part of my day, and I'm going to, put my phone in the other room or turn it off, or,
Yeah.
there's easy stuff for all of us where it's just like, yeah, you don't need to, phone a friend for this. But there are certain things, like if I want to squat, double my body weight, like, there's going to be a pretty, like, painful growth trajectory that I'm going to have to engage in. And it's going to require a lot of different areas of my life working in concert to hit that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just too much it requires too much of me to just be accountable to me
Yeah.
in order to make that change. So
Yeah.
that for me is accountability.
Yeah. Yeah. That's well said. That's well said. I think you nailed it. And your capacity to grow is going to be hindered by your capacity to embrace your vision, your community, and your accountability. You embrace those three things, you're going to grow. You don't, you can still grow, but I would say the level and extent to which you grow will significantly be less. It just will be. You don't
Agreed.
have somebody to hold up a mirror to you and say, hey, yes or no, you are doing it. You can always convince yourself that there's good reasons why you're not. But when I tell you why I'm not, and you're like, that's cool, but what are you going to do anyways?
Yeah, that's a
That's a good
powerful.
question. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good question. So, yeah, man,
Good work, man. Hey, you're not
hey,
bad at this.
well, 2025, man, it is the like let's go have some fun. Like we're gonna have great interviews. I know we already got some people lined up that we've been in conversation with that are gonna be fantastic. And
Yes, we do.
man, with that, land our plane, Brad. Land it.
Subscribe, right?
Sure.
That's what you got to do. You got to subscribe. You get it delivered right to
Yeah,
wherever it gets delivered.
it helps us
Um,
grow.
yep, that's number one. Number two is share, right? If you're learning and growing, and if this is valuable to you, if there's something that you feel like there's somebody in your life and they need to hear, right? Go ahead and share. Leave a comment if it's nice. If it's mean, it should only be directed at Taylor per our user agreement. And the other thing too, I think is just we would love to hear what you guys want to talk about. Are there certain topics
Mm,
or things that you guys would love for us to address and dialogue about? I think that'd be a lot of fun. So don't hesitate to share those things. Maybe the last thing is if you want to go deeper, jump on the community and sign up for the movement, which is kind of a fitness track that Taylor leads. You can also sign up for Imposters Anonymous. There's another track that Taylor leads. It's a monthly gathering where we can get together and just process through, the areas of our life where we're trying to grow, and we can be in community as we do that. And then I would say, consider group coaching for 2025. We've got some really great opportunities to work with other individuals who are like-minded, and I would encourage you to take a whirl, give it a shot.
mm.
That's all I got, brother.
Well said. Well said, Brad. It's going to be a great year.
Indeed.
Indeed.
2025, here we come. Happy New Year. See you guys on the next episode.